Say nothing feels good if I'm not with you.
Say what?
Sick of these dresses and these Jimmy Choos. Taking them off cause I feel a fool. I don't want knowing if I'm not with you.
Y'all niggas soft,
I'ma
man.
stay up in the bed all day, dressed in the bed with something haze. In bed all day, with nothing but the t-shirt on. I got nothing but your t-shirt on.
Welcome to another episode of Tangential Thoughts Chat Show. I'm your chief, JaHaRaa, leader of the Kim Dynasty and the Spiritual Bandits. And on today's episode of Tangential Thoughts Art Show, I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to screen print on clothing. Now, the only reason I say quick is because I think you can understand the pain as an editor, YouTube content creator, in editing and then importing, exporting, and uploading long videos. Also, I think as a viewer, you can appreciate videos that get straight to the point. Now, as a disclaimer, I am by no means an expert, all right? I received this screen printing kit as a gift on December 25th, 2023. However, to establish credibility as an artist and therefore validate my experience, I will show you what I've created so far. So, the first shirt that I made was a shirt from Spencer's, I think. And I took it and I screen printed my project Extinction design on the side. So this was the first time I did it. I faded it from red to black. And then I tried it right after that again, but I messed up a little bit. And so you just mainly see hints of red and then the black. I also took the time to distress it a little bit with a knife, and then I just burnt the sleeves for added effect. Now, my first little piece of advice or tidbit I would say is to use a shirt that you kind of don't even care about. Get two shirts, all right? First thing you're gonna do is get two shirts. Because the reason I even went on this shirt, I actually liked it, but it had a stain on the top of it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna screen print on this shirt. And then to actually try out. Then there was another shirt that I had, and that was literally, if you've never done it before, I would just think it a random shirt that you would even, like, you'd probably even throw away. And screen print on that first, try it out so you can understand just the pressure that you're gonna have to use and exert with the machine. And then, so that was the first shirt I made. And then yesterday, I literally made 4 shirts in 10 minutes. And I tried it out with the pink and purple. And then I went again with the orange and green. And then right after that, I did the one that you see here on this shirt with red and black. And I made another one just with a black mix. And so if you don't like what I've made so far, then you can cut the video off right now. You know what I'm saying? But if you're interested in to see how I made these, then we can hop right into it. And so the method that I'm going to be talking about is called the drawing fluid screen filler method. Now, there's other methods, but I think that this method is the most efficient for longevity. So in this screen printing kit, here is all of the list of materials. I think you can pause it and read backwards yourself. But what you're gonna need for the drawing fluid screen filler method is drawing fluid, screen filler, of course, like I just said, a practice shirt and a shirt that you're actually gonna use, paint brushes, and of course, the actual frame. And so right here, I'll just tell you like the process because this is already made and I'm just gonna show you how I use it. So what you do is you're gonna take the drawing fluid, you're going to mix it up a little bit, and they give you sticks inside of this kit. So I just took this popsicle stick, stirred it up because you know you guys get the contents all mixed up well together. And then take your paintbrush, dip that in, and paint the actual design. All right, paint the actual design on the screen. First piece of advice right here. is that once you have it painted on the screen, you're just gonna see, it's actually blue. It's a blue liquid. That's all you're gonna see on the screen. All right, you're gonna see this blue greenish film on the screen, wherever you paint it at, right? Now, Speedball actually has a tutorial. And if you just watch the tutorial, you'll get the impression that you can possibly do this in like very fast or quick setting. That my advice would be to wait a day. You know what I'm saying? My advice would be to wait a day. And that's because I looked up some other people's stuff, and the one lady did, and it's just to make so that your design is clean. When you're actually doing it, you have less worries. All right. So you can actually do this possibly all in one day. But if you want to make a clean edits and clean designs, you might want to take a day between. I think I used the drawing fluid first, and then I stood in front of a fan for about 10, 15 minutes, and I let it harden from there. Now, after that, so you can either take the 10 to 15 minutes and stand in front of a fan to let the drawing fluid harden. And then what you're gonna do is come back with this screen filler and literally go back over top of it. Now, the reason that you possibly kind of wanna wait in between is, right? Because if you wait a day for this to harden, then when you go to put the screen filler over top of it, you won't be worried about it moving. You won't be worried about your design moving and the screen filler and the drawing fluid moving at all and it messing up. It'll be as precise as you painted it up there. So that's one. And then the other part about the screen filler is, again, you can possibly do it in just one setting. But if you wait a day and the longer you allow this to sit, the harder it is for this design to come out. And that's why I think this is the best method for longevity. Now, as you see, like this is my design, my Project Extinction design. And you see it's on my book. It's on my book. So for merch, this is my first design. I wanted it on a shirt. And this was the first time I used a Cricut machine. And so using a Cricut machine, I was able to be more precise and detailed with it. However, even though it's not as precise and detailed, I like the abstractness that I'm able to get with this design, especially it being asteroids, dinosaurs, Project Extinction. I think that's all cool. So from there, so I think you can get it from there. Actually, so there's two sides to this, right? And so this was one thing, as you're watching these tutorials from Speedball, this was like a slightly confusing part. So there's two sides, right? There's this side right here that's, I guess, like hollow inside, and then there's this flat side. So there's this flat side, but then there's just this side that you can actually boom, right? You're doing all of this on this other side. After I waited a day, I woke up in the morning, and then when you take this and wash it off with cold water, all the blue will go away. And if you waited a little bit, then you can actually be okay with, you know what I'm saying, really just rubbing it out. You're gonna take the cold water, rub it out on both sides, just, you know what I'm saying, clean it out, rub it out. And that's with cold water, emphasis on cold water. With cold water, that takes out the drawing fluid. Now, if you ever decide to want to use another design, same frame, use another design, then you would go back with hot water and soap, and then this whole thing would just clear out. All right, the whole thing would clear out. So that's how I got to this point. And the other reason I kind of even like this is because, like I just showed you, you can screen print anywhere that you kind of want to, and then it's a matter of just playing with it. Today I woke up and I did it on the pants. And just playing with it, right? I tried to do it in red, but then the red didn't come out too well, and then it kind of like gobbled up a little bit. And then I just went back over it in black. And again, but that just adds to it. You know what I'm saying? That just makes it an added effect, like going over top of it again. So you see it was in red, I went back over it with the black, and it just gives it an added effect. And then I did it again in black on this side, so you can see it turns out pretty clean. And so what I wanted to do was do it on a shirt. And it's fun to do it on old clothing that you just don't even like really care about. You know what I'm saying? Old clothing that you don't really care about. And yep, I think you can kind of tell. Like on this shirt right here, the reason I'm gonna use this shirt is because one, it's a solid color, but two, it got stained a little bit from my other shirts. It got stained a little bit. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to screen print on this one. Yep. It's all over here, all over here. So what I'm gonna do is, and this is what I actually kind of wanna do. I actually, and cause it's like, you just play with it, right? You're just playing with it. I'm actually gonna screen print on top of this sleeve. I don't even care if the design goes on or off of it too much. I'm just gonna screen print on top of this sleeve. So let me set this down. So here's another shirt that I'm going to put the design on. I only tie-dyed one sleeve, but once it finished drying, I'm gonna put the Project Extinction design right here on the front as well. So let me get down here, let me set this out. Now, it's a little more challenging if you're trying to do it like on jeans or bulkier clothing. First thing you wanna do is set it out flat, all right? So set whatever you're doing, set it down flat. So I'm just gonna get this, shake it out, flatten it. So right there, there's one thing you wanna do. You wanna set it and make sure that what you're gonna be painting on is really flat. And so I can show you here, right? This looks okay until you look about like right here. There's a complete line in it because the shirt was folded right there. The shirt was folded, you see? And so you wanna make sure your design, wherever you're painting at, is gonna be completely flat, all right? You wanna make sure it's completely flat. And then I'm actually going to be using, I don't really care for the color blue, and it came with red, black, and blue. So I'm going to use this blue just for experimental purposes. And this one is just some extra red. So I'm going to be using these two colors as well. All right. So shirt is flattened out. And then I want to literally print on this sleeve right here. I literally want to print on this sleeve. And as I'm looking at it, just right here on this sleeve. And see, I don't have any issues about how hard I'm gonna press down and move back and forth because remember, it was all printed on the other side. And so you're not even scraping up against that or anything. And then you're gonna take this little squeegee thing. I think that's what they call it. I think they call this a squeegee. Now, I'm going to use the red and the blue. And I think I'm just going to take this blue. And so there's other containers that have different types of fabric paint, but the way that this one is, you gotta kind of pour it. And you know, like when you're watching them, they'll pour it on one side and then scrape on the other side. I don't really care to do that no more. I just make sure that there's paint wherever the design is. You wanna make sure that you have enough paint wherever your design is. That's like the biggest thing. All right, you just wanna make sure there's paint wherever your design is. And so the reason I'm also like red and blue is gonna be kind of cool as well is because I think if you mix red and blue, then you get purple. If you mix red and blue, you get purple. So now I'm just gonna take this one. And I'm just making sure there is making sure that there's paint wherever the design is. That's all I really care about. That I might have enough paint to go across. The reason I kind of even messed up on this shirt is because there was no red down here on the end, and that thing got completely just disregarded. So you just wanna make sure that there is paint all over your design, all right? And then you're just gonna slide this across. And I keep going back and forth. You just slide it across and you're gonna keep going back and forth. And the other part that you kind of wanna make sure about as well is you wanna hold it down because you don't want it to be moving so much. You don't want it to be moving so much. And you just keep sliding that paint across the design. And I think this is gonna come out pretty well. All right, so I'm gonna lift this up. Yeah, and it came out decent. It came out all right. And there you can see it. It came out pretty clean, right here. So if you're done with that and that's all you needed to know, then cool. After this, I'm just gonna sit here and explain, you know what I'm saying, clean up and how to move forward after this. So like when I did the 4 shirts in 10 minutes, I literally was just looking at, like I didn't even decide to rinse this off. I didn't even decide to rinse it off because I looked at the strength of the colors. So I started off with pink and purple. And then I knew just screen printing, just dragging it across, the very next colors I was gonna use was the orange and green, and I think those were gonna be stronger colors when I put those down, so I didn't have to worry about even if it was gonna kind of mix, there's any residue left over, the orange and the green will overpower that pink and purple, and then that's why I moved to red and black, because red was gonna take over the other, that orange, and then black is gonna take over any color. And so making sure that water is cold, making sure this is cold water, and then you can just rinse it out. Now from here, you could go ahead and go back and rinse it out and then go back and try it again with some more colors. But you see, the screen filler is still here. The screen filler is still here. So this is how it will look when you just have that drawing fluid. The drawing fluid is gonna come right out. You gotta scrub it out a little bit, but it's gonna come right out with cold water. And now I can just keep using this design and go ahead and I can just repeat the process. I'll just talk about a couple other things because you see like the way it looks, how I got like this tape on it. So the only reason I got this tape on it in certain parts, for example, the reason I have tape on the edges of it, of course, is for protection as far as like paint going off the parts that the screen filler may not touch and paint either seeping to the side. So you want to outline it in paint. You want to outline it in tape, and then I was just worried about the screen filler, so that's why I put some tape here. I didn't want no paint to go past that part. And then also outlining it in tape on the edges on the inside. And so inside and outside, outlining it in tape, and that's just for the paint the extra paint that may get across anywhere. This has been another episode of Tangential Thoughts Chat Show. I'm your chief, JaHaRaa. Please make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed the content, leave a comment if you have any questions, and share the video with any other creative or artists you may know. Thank you for your time, energy, patience, and attention.